From the University of North Dakota in Grand Forks, this is Studio One.
Hi everyone and welcome to Studio One. I'm Averi Haugesag and this is Katy Wilson. Today on the show, when you hear the word bully, the idea of getting stuffed into a locker may come to mind. We'll talk to a bullying expert about something he says is much less physical but can cause just as much harm.
Also, everyone wants kids to be safe. We'll show you what North Dakota schools are doing to keep their students out of harm's way. But first, General Motors is finding themselves in hot water. GM announced earlier this week they are expected to fix a few mechanical problems. The major car company is expanding a recall on nearly 1.4 million vehicles made between 2003 and 2007. The recall is set to resolve an issue with an ignition switch that has been blamed for multiple deaths. More than 5 different models have been affected. The most popular models recalled are the Chevy Cobalt and the Pontiac Pursuit. Nutrition labels will be getting a makeover for the first time in more than 2 decades. The FDA proposed new rules that would change serving size and recommended daily nutrients. The new rules make it easier to see how many calories the average American consumes. Michelle Obama is expected to announce the change in part of her plan for a healthier America. The new rules will take effect in 2 years. Warming up a vehicle before driving is a habit for many during the cold winter months. It is necessary to lubricate the crucial engine parts before setting off. A warm-up of 5 to 10 minutes is recommended to ensure the proper distribution of oil, but some argue that 10 seconds of runtime is all you need to adequately warm an engine. Environmental effects are also a concern with long warm-up times. Others maintain that letting your car idle before driving will increase its longevity.
Well, 10 seconds isn't really long enough to develop any type of liquid chemistry in the internals to warm up a vehicle or an engine properly.
A popular alternative to idling is a block heater. These heaters warm a vehicle's engine with oil without running the motor. Oftentimes, they can warm the engine effectively in very cold climates.
Your driver's license may be the only ID you have to pull out at the border. A new enhanced driver's license provides proof of identity and U.S. citizenship in addition to serving as a permit to drive. The enhanced driver's license offers a way to enter the U.S. from Canada, Bermuda, Mexico, or the Caribbean. Border agents scan the card and verify a traveler's identity without personal information printed on the card. The cost is an additional $15. New York, Vermont, Michigan, Minnesota, and Washington are the current states that have issued enhanced driver's licenses.
Many parents worry about their children's safety. Schools across the state of North Dakota are making changes to try to ease concerns.
Schools are institutions for learning. They educate children in what is hopefully a safe environment.
We want to supply a very safe and secure place for young people to attend.
Buck has been the principal at Central High School for 6 years, and a father for many more.
We expect the same things as all of the other parents.
Which most would agree is a reasonable request.
I think parents want the schools to do everything they can possibly do to keep schools safe.
School districts across the state of North Dakota were granted access to $3 million in order to improve student safety. The money was dispersed based on student population, and the Grand Forks Public School District itself was granted access to $215,000.
First of all, we're very thankful that the legislature feels this is an important investment because it is needed. I think all districts can look at improving safety.
The money granted does not come free.
And it is a matching grant program, so you have to spend the money in order to get reimbursed at about a 50% rate. So there's still some investment on behalf of the district.
We're not exempt from, the possibility that something could happen here. So we are always on guard. We're always looking. And if something is not right, we take care of it.
Our community needs to know that their students are going to be safe in our environment, so we take that very seriously.
Schools are taking a more and more proactive approach to ensure children's safety. Enhancing security is part of their plan to reach that goal.
The Grand Forks Public School District is looking at using the funds for multiple changes. These include updating surveillance cameras, installing secure entry systems and panic buttons, and improving swipe card access. And that's the news for now, Avery.
All right, thanks, Katy. Let's go over to Timm Uhlmann now for the weather news. Tim?
Thanks, Katie and Avery. Now, the Northeast has gotten some colder temperatures once again after a week of warmer ones, and these shifts in temperature have caused ice jams to form on many rivers in some regions. Ice jams are what happens when ice breaks off of a river that was frozen, thaws a bit, and then refreezes. These float downstream and can cause flooding when they work together, or when they press up against a bridge, they can damage the structure. This bridge in Illinois was closed out of concerns that it would become unsafe to drive upon. Now, we are heading towards spring, but winter is still present, and it's important to be familiar with some of the terminology when warnings come out. Now, a blizzard, for example, has winds of up to 40 miles per hour and visibility under a quarter mile. It does not need any new falling snow, and so therefore it's a common misconception that a blizzard will have a heavy snowfall associated with it. Heavy snowfall, instead, is with a snowstorm. Up to 5 inches in a 12-hour period are the conditions for a snowstorm. It does not need winds or low visibility, so these two terms can occur at the same time, but they don't have to. Now, as the winter and that snow starts to pile up, it's important to have a plan to remove it. Winter in the Central Plains means snow. New snowfall on the campus of the University of North Dakota can block roads and limit places for students to park. By the time most students arrive in the morning to park their car, Larry and his crew have taken all that snow and parked it somewhere else.
If we get anything under 6 inches, we'll easily have it done by, if we start at 4, we'll be done by 7 o'clock.
Larry has been working at the university for 41 years. He knows this past winter has created a few unusual challenges for snow and ice removal.
It's not the norm in a lot of ways, in that it's been a very cold early winter, and so the roads and the parking lots got filled up with snow very early.
So far this winter, Grand Forks has received 70 days with below zero temperatures. That's the 4th most on record. All these cold temperatures can easily freeze up the snow and ice removal process.
The chemicals that we use needs to have a temperature of 0 or above in order for it to do any good at all.
This year, the cold has been a problem. But in past years, the snowfall itself has been a much bigger problem.
The staff, we'd have to go get them with a payloader many times, or a snowmobile, in order to get them to work.
Just as you can count on new snow each year, you can count on Larry to keep your path clear. Tim Uhlmann reporting for Studio One. Now, this isn't the first year that a lot of cold temperatures have been a problem. The record was set back in 1916 with 74 days of below zero temperatures. Now, we're talking about winter and snow. That brings us to our weather question of the week. Which state set the record for the greatest amount of snowfall in a day? And Avery, I'm glad North Dakota isn't on that list.
All right, thanks, Tim. Well, it's funny, I was up early this morning and I think I saw Larry and those guys moving the snow.
I'll bet you did.
All right, next we're going to go over to Katie Wilson with the sports story for today. Katie?
Thanks, Avery. Prescription drug use has risen over the last decade. One athlete has dedicated his life to help fight this trend.
Today, these high school students are treated to a guest speaker who is talking to them about drugs. Some of these kids will blow off his message, but this guest speaker hopes his story can save a young life.
We all start off with the notion that it won't be us. And I was one of those kids.
High schoolers navigate a maze of potential problems. Drug use is one of them.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, everyone says, it happens everywhere, and for sure it does happen, drugs and alcohol.
Chris was no ordinary junkie. He'd accomplished the dream. Heron was a high school phenom, college star, and NBA basketball player. After he was cut by the Nuggets, Heron, who was raised just outside of Boston, accomplished his dream of playing for his favorite team.
I was able to accomplish that, and I lost it. I lost it because of painkillers, because of OxyContin, which led me to heroin.
After years of addiction, the man who saw his dreams taken, his family tortured, and his body ravaged, finally sobered up.
My highest moments of my recovery, any day I can get through sober is a huge victory.
Chris is an athlete who measures victory in gymnasiums differently than he did in the past. His job used to be to win NBA games, and now it's to win over kids with his sobering message. I'm Alex Stadnick, reporting for Studio One.
Heron says he was pronounced dead at the scene of his car crash, and luckily, paramedics were able to revive him. You can find more about his efforts to stop drug use at goprojectpurple.com. And that's our sports story for today's show. Avery?
All right, thanks, Katie. Bullies no longer need to be 6 foot and 200 pounds. Coming up, we will tell you about a new form of bullying and how it can be stopped.
Closed captioning for Studio One is underwritten in part by NDAD, helping others to help themselves.
North Dakota is facing challenges in healthcare delivery. The University of North Dakota School of Medicine and Health Sciences is building a place to help meet the state's healthcare needs. In addition to a new structure, we're also building interaction between healthcare professionals while building a workforce through expanding class sizes. We're inspiring our youth to engage in healthcare careers and exploring ways to reduce disease. It starts here and ends here, building a better future for North Dakota.
At the University of North Dakota College of Engineering and Mines, classes have real-life application. Mentors guide students. Our work improves quality of life by answering tough questions with creativity and innovation. The University of North Dakota College of Engineering and Mines, training tomorrow's engineering and geology experts today.
The University of North Dakota College of Business and Public Administration, connecting vision to innovation.
Studio One closed captioning is underwritten in part by Options, your disability information source.
Bullying can happen anytime, anywhere, and to anyone. A bully no longer needs to be big and strong. Now all it takes is just a few strokes on a keyboard and a punch to the enter button. Psychology professor and expert on bullying Mark Raby is here to talk about cyberbullying. Thanks for being on the show today, Mark.
You're welcome. Thanks.
Now, cyberbullying is a new generation of bullying. How does this compare to more traditional forms of bullying?
Well, the obvious difference, I guess, is that it's not face-to-face. And some of the mechanisms that would support physical bullying are not necessary. You don't have to be bigger and stronger. So, I mean, it tends to be related in that there's a good deal of overlap. Students in K-12 settings who are bullied are often cyberbullied as well. But there are other populations involved. And so it expands, I guess, the opportunity for harassment, if you will.
So how is this modern form kind of unique then?
Well, I mean, if you understand how it happens, it's unique because you don't have to be physically present, and that presents some unique challenges, and there's some explanations for why that's the case. I mean, when you bully somebody in person, they know who you are. Right, and there's that problem with cyberbullying that's not necessarily the case. You don't have to see their reaction, and that allows you some protection from the emotional reaction. There's some distance there. So these are, this kind of thing of anonymity and separation are usually used as some of the explanations for why it happens.
So can you kind of tell me some of the similarities between regular bullying and cyberbullying then?
Well, the kids who get picked on are often the same. If you are unique in some way, you're more likely a victim. I guess that would be a similarity. So we pick on people who are different.
Yeah.
And that's...
Yeah, you were kind of telling me, you and a grad student who actually taught a class last fall at the University of North Dakota wrote a book together called Cyberbullying, the Global Playground.
Well, we have a chapter in the book.
Okay, yes. Can you tell me a little bit about it? You were telling me kind of that the U.S. is very different with bullying as opposed to other countries.
Well, so some of the logic is if you're trying to understand the problem of bullying, if you can find places that it's common and you can find places that it's not so common, and you can try to understand the differences, maybe that will give you things to change, right? So the whole notion of the book was to do similar things or understand cyberbullying in different countries, look for differences in prevalence and differences in associated factors, and so different authors from different countries who were engaged in this kind of research submitted the chapters. And
very cool.
Just to make it clear, I'm not the primary author. My interest is more in the use of technology in schools. Brett is a forensic psychologist, and he's more interested in school violence. So that was kind of the collaboration.
Okay. Can you kind of give me a scenario of what cyberbullying would be like here in the United States? I mean, does it happen at school? Does it happen in homes with friends?
Right. Okay. Let me actually continue with my comment, and I'll kind of tie that in. Yeah. So I'm interested protectively because social media is my interest in how it can be used in learning. One of the things that happens, I think, is a lot of people associate cyberbullying somehow with schools, and schools are defensive then and may back away from the use of social media. Turns out that that's a little bit of a misperception. Kids know each other through school, but cyberbullying, unlike bullying, is very seldom actually occurs within the school. So less than 5% of incidents in terms of if we can find out where they originated from actually happen in school, that tend to be in homes.
Yeah, that's interesting because a lot of times I feel like they teach that kind of things in schools, but it's not enforced as much as home.
Well, that's possibly a solution. If you're going to say we need to address this problem, what's an efficient way to get at a given age group? Well, obviously school's an efficient.
Well, there was another solution you had told me about as well. It was some kind of application. Can you tell me about this phone app that you were?
Well, right. We're looking. You look for all kinds of solutions. A really extreme solution schools employ is to filter or block things. So, like many schools will not allow students to use Facebook. Well, right. Well, Facebook wouldn't necessarily be an application I would promote educationally, but it is there, and it's an example of blocking. So that's a technological solution. The solution I think I told you about is an app that goes on a phone. It's called Stop It. And what it essentially says is if you experience something negative, first of all, you need to know how to capture the screen of your phone. So if it's a message, if it's a picture,
screenshot it.
Yeah, screenshot it, right. So collect it. And then this app is predetermined to send information to different sources. And so you can send it, if the school provides it, the school will set up a connection in the school, and so you can submit it and they have that information. If you're a friend of someone this happens, you can send it in anonymously. So that's kind of the idea.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Kids should probably download that on their phones.
I think so.
Yep. All right, well, thanks for being on the show with us today, Mark. Coming up, an empty gas tank is inevitable. We found a gas station that makes a small chore a bit more enjoyable by holding on to the old ways of doing things.
Studio One closed captioning is underwritten in part by Options, your disability information source.
It's not the size of the woman in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the woman.
Some consider graduation the end of the college experience. For others, it's just the beginning.
And the university provided an environment where I could grow.
Many years after I graduated, I'm still receiving dividends from my experience as a student at UND.
The University of North Dakota Alumni Association is committed to growing the university by growing the alumni family.
At the University of North Dakota College of Engineering and Mines, classes have real-life application. Mentors guide students. Our work improves quality of life by answering tough questions with creativity and innovation. The University of North Dakota College of Engineering and Mines, training tomorrow's engineering and geology experts today.
Admire the faculty. They're the ones that kind of helped push me through this.
Courses are hands-on and interactive. The communication program has so many different facets to it. One of the great things about the staff in the communication department is that they love what they do. They encourage you to really critically think and analyze everything you're learning. They're so into it, and it makes you want to be into it.
If you would like to attend a live show, go to our website at studio1.und.edu.
Liam Neeson stars as a U.S. Air Marshal in a thriller that takes place 40,000 feet in the air. The movie is called Nonstop and is set on a transatlantic flight from New York City to London. The Air Marshal's routine flight takes an unexpected turn. During the flight, he receives a text message from the phone's secure network. The messages demand he forces the airline to transfer $150 million into a secret account. If he fails to transfer the money, a passenger will be killed every 20 minutes.
The film's definitely going to feel edge of the seat for long periods. As I say, it's a real whodunit. It has a grittiness to it, and quite a few surprises.
The majority of the movie takes place on a 767 airplane. It was filmed on a set in New York City. Nonstop lands in theaters on February 28th with a PG-13 rating. A new technology could make connecting with the dead a reality. A company called Eternity.me is developing online technology that can collect nearly all of a dead person's digitally shared information. It then converts the data into virtual representations of the person. This recreation can imitate your personality and interact with your family and friends after you pass away. We wanted your thoughts on the idea of immortalizing people via the internet.
I think it's kind of weird, and I don't think they should do that to people. Like, after they die, they should just like leave it alone.
It seems really cool, but I feel like the responses might be really limited to what people would be questions they could ask or what they could communicate with their family.
I think it's a little bit creepy. I think it would be a lot like getting a text message from somebody that's passed away, and I think that's like a plot to a really bad scary movie or something.
I guess they would probably have to edit a few things out of it. I mean, I know I do. I have certain stuff I wouldn't want to be created for other people to see.
I think it's creepy, and I probably wouldn't use it because it would just creep me out a lot.
I don't think it's a bad idea. I think it's an interesting thought, but I think it's a pretty inconclusive look at somebody's life, just kind of what they put out there on the internet.
A comment from our Facebook page from Kazakhstan. Maria says, I really like the idea. One of my friends passed away, and I still post on her Facebook page every year on her birthday. It is therapeutic to have a place to come and log in to express feelings. Mike from Grand Forks, North Dakota says, I like to remember late relatives in my own way. I can look back at pictures or even videos to relive specific times. I wouldn't want those memories to be altered. Bethany from Devils Lake, North Dakota says, this type of technology may get in the way of the grieving process. If loved ones are able to talk to the deceased, I can see certain people becoming fixated on this virtual personality and not moving on.
The meaning of customer service has certainly changed from past years. We found a few men who like the old definition.
On the corner of Mill Road and Gateway Drive sits a gas station. At this fuel oasis, you'll find one of the most experienced gas jockeys around.
I started working here in 1955 and I've been here ever since.
To some, this small building may not seem like much, but there's more than meets the eye.
Oh, we hear that all the time. I haven't seen a place like this since, when we were kids.
And Bob's kids happen to be just as good as he is at filling it up.
219, there you go.
Thank you, darling.
Back in the 50s and 60s, this is all it was.
This pump from the past has been around since the 1930s. The customers pull up to get their tanks filled, but can always expect a little more.
We have a good group of people that come in every day, and we look forward to teasing some.
I like how you took the long way.
And Bob, the owner, he always gives me a pen, a free pen usually. And sometimes I get a piece of candy.
They love us.
We live in a time that is anything but full service. It's nice to come across places like Bob's Oil to get our fill of that something extra. Reporting for Studio One, I'm Tasha Olson.
In the warmer months, customers can also get windows washed, brakes checked, and tires filled. They offer those services all without customers leaving their seats.
That's definitely unique that they have a gas station like that. I mean, things aren't like that anymore. Yeah.
Definitely. Things have changed.
Very
it's
cool.
Neat to see how they have.
Now, Tim is going to join us in our studio with a final look at the weather. Tim?
Thanks, Katie and Avery. Earlier in the show, we were talking about those colder temperatures returning towards the northeast, and they will be colder than average from the central plains all the way towards the east coast, along with some warmer regions towards the west coast. Precipitation-wise, wet spots towards Washington and Florida, with a drier region all the way from Texas up towards the northeast. That brings us back to our weather question of the week. Which state set the record for the greatest amount of snowfall in a day? That would be Colorado. Silver Lake, Colorado, in 24 hours, they received 75 inches of snow. That means if you slept through that day, you wouldn't be able to get out your door.
That is a lot of snow.
I'm glad it's not here.
All right, thanks, Tim. And that's our show for today. As always, you can follow us through social media or get more information on our website. From all of us here at Studio One, have a great week.
We'll see you next time.